All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is our 22nd Meet Your Delegate call. My name is Peyton. I go by Pros11 online, and I am one of the governance facilitators here at MakerDAO. Really exciting to be here today with all y'all to talk another Meet Your Delegate call. This week, joined by HKUST, EPI Labs, and they'll be telling us a little bit about what brought them to Maker, as well as opening up to some questions after their presentation on why they want to be a delegate and what they hope to accomplish here at MakerDAO. So yeah, without further ado, I'll turn it over. I think we got some slides to share, and we'd love to hear from the team.
Okay. Hi. Yes. Good morning, I guess, or good afternoon from where you guys are. So it's pretty much midnight down here. So I'll be sharing my bunch of slides. Okay. So I guess everyone is able to see the slides, right? So who we are is we are EPI Labs, and we are under Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. And I am actually my screen name on yeah. So actually this is me. This is the screen name is Alvin. So about Hong Kong, so let me introduce myself. So I'm Alvin, and I was pretty much a Pet 5 person, and I got into blockchain. And let me allow my one of the professors of Hong Kong UST to actually introduce to you guys what the university is about, as well as what the lab is about. So Ray, can you talk a bit about on the university side? Ray, is he frozen? I think he's frozen. Yeah.
Maybe we can skip that for now and come back to him once the internet resumes.
No worries. Okay, fine. So yeah, just about the things that the lab is established in 1990. Sorry, the school is established in 1991, and the lab was only established in October this year. So it was pretty much a new one of a new lab or research labs that was actually established by the university to.
Yeah, sorry, I think I was probably some network problem got me kicked out. Yeah. So I believe our university is also one of the pioneer in research and studies on blockchain stuff. Our lab, EPI, was founded recently to promote research and studies, particularly on blockchain. We study a wide range of topics in blockchain, ranging from the fundamental chain design, security analysis, to DeFi and all sort of privacy study. Next page, please. Alvin? So news about the HKUST is, I believe, we are probably quite famous in as a university, university-wide. We're pretty famous. Here are a couple of links and stories that stating our status in this field. Next slide, please. Our labs are founded recently. Members including professors, researchers, and students, both master, PhD, and undergraduate students. So we were quite into the study, especially the integration of traditional finance and its combination with the latest blockchain technology and smart contract. Our lab was founded, as I said recently, in September 2022 to expose students of HKUST to DeFi and the crypto world. Also, we would like to build a sort of a platform for students not only on campus, but also in the region to get involved in this new technology. For now, our lab focuses mostly on the sort of hardcore technology in pretty much all aspects of blockchain. We currently have around a few professors from School of Engineering and School of Science. We also have a dozen of PhD students in the lab. And today, joining with me are our research assistant, Alvin, who we just met. And we also have 3 more PhD students joining us today. Next page, please. Next page, yes. So our core values are basically, connect, idea, inform, experience, and mental. So we want to develop and promote a mutually beneficial and friendly environment between universities and protocols in the decentralized finance space. We want to promote critical thinking and through the process to derive solutions, hopefully to contribute to the community. We also, part of our objective is to educate the benefits, integration of blockchain technology to traditional finance for the next generation of workforce. We want to share some insights, industry knowledge and experience to protocol stakeholders. We want to provide advice and support on matters involving treasury, budgeting, process streamlining, and collateral risk management to the protocol. Next page, please. So our tax won't being recognized as delegate. So academically, I believe this is going to be mutual benefit to MakerDAO and HKUST for all kinds of case studies, knowledge sharing, education. We're also very pragmatic in a way that sensible and realistic idea capable of being obtained in the short to the medium term. We care about sustainability as the revenue versus expense assessment to certain that MakerDAO is of a going concern. So I do believe that a certain level of in-depth research would benefit the protocol and the community in general. We want to contribute to the brainstorming of pragmatic ideas and try to place new ideas. And also we want to bring sort of trust in the decision-making process for the greater good of MakerDAO. Next. So internally, we sort of establish a process for the voting. So first we identify MIPs and signal request, and then we have the discussion and research of its implications. I believe this is the most hardcore process. For example, we can do data analysis or some simulations, like to simulate, sort of have a what if scenario simulation and more sort of scientific analysis. And then, of course, we're going to go on a vote, and a simple majority from the students and researchers would, help us to reach a more sensible conclusion. And then we're going to vote accordingly. So this is the sort of the process that we use internally. Next. I believe having us will be like mutual benefit, as I said. Definitely, there's no doubt that our lab and the HKUST will benefit greatly from being a member. But we also believe that we can benefit MakerDAO by leveraging on the fantastic academic platform we have here at HKUST to review the proposals and a signal request. These include pretty much all aspects: finance, programming, logistics, feasibility, so on and so forth. We would also like to propose new proposals if we have some good idea, or if we identify an issue. Next slide. Yeah, the benefit is mutual, as I mentioned. I do believe that having our lab involved it will help us to understand the DAO operations, and actually being part of the operation by doing it, right, by actively participating. And secondly, I do believe that the study of all these smart contracts, including auctions, liquidation mechanism, would help us to educate the next generation of engineers, programmers, and practitioners. So lastly but not, using MakerDAO as a case study for academic purpose. For example, we can build in how MakerDAO works at the technical level to our education, to undergraduate and graduate students. And I do believe that HKUST will benefit greatly by having our lab being part of the member. Yes, that's pretty much all I want to talk about. Alvin, you have anything to add?
No, I think that's pretty much what we are. So we can open the floor to questions if anybody has any.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for putting together that presentation and then bringing a few members of the team to come talk to us. I know sometimes the questions need a little bit of a start to get rolling in. So I'm happy to take the first one. In the meantime, if any of our audience has anything they'd like to ask, feel free to either use the raised hand feature under reactions, then I can call on you, or you can feel free to type it in chat and I'll either read it out, or if you say you'll hop on the mic, I'll call on you to do so. So first question is kind of like a general, and then maybe you can hedge a bit by listing a couple. But I'm curious what in your mind is the biggest challenge for Maker at the moment.
Well, I think the biggest challenge, I think there were many challenges at the technical level, which is most will be studied most. I believe the biggest challenge for MakerDAO is the uncertainty of the future. By uncertainty, I mean the uncertainty of regulation, the uncertainty of asset pricing, and the uncertainty of technology development. These are the challenges because we're not sure, how exactly the big economic environment is going to unfold in the future, and also let's say the price of the assets in the back, and then I think with such an uncertainty, any sort of kind of shock in the economic environment that could lead to some dynamic that could bring a lot of risk to the platform or the protocol.
Definitely an important one to consider. Appreciate your thoughts on that. Any questions from the audience? If not, happy to go to my list and keep rattling off of you. All right, seeing none at the moment, so I will keep firing. Kind of curious in terms of like growth strategy for Maker. We often have this talk of like doves versus hawks, or however you want to frame it. But I'm curious in terms of you and your platform, how you'll be voting. What do you think like Maker should be doing to grow? Are there aspects you'd like to see us expand into, or places do you think we should be weary about expanding?
So may I confirm you by what do you mean expanding? Is that expanding simply meaning increasing the volume or market share, or expanding means that probably create additional products and services such as exchange? So may I confirm, like, what do you mean by expanding?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point to clarify. I think both are valid, but I guess I was more curious with DAI adaption, right? With the idea of getting more DAI out into the world and more use cases there. Is there something we should be using? I guess, yeah. How do you feel the best way to grow DAI is? Might be a better way to rephrase that.
Okay, so then your question is seeking my view on this kind of what should the platform, say MakerDAO, do in order to increase the adoption or market share? All right, so yeah, I think it's it's like the reason I asked for the clarification is that I do believe that in my personal view or our view from our lab, according to our very preliminary analysis, that we feel that the MakerDAO sort of experiencing a bottleneck, and in order to move on to the next stage and to see a level of increase at a huge magnitude, I do believe it goes hand in hand with additional service. This is just my view. So currently, MakerDAO is pretty much a lending platform where people can stake some sort of assets and then mint DAI, and with sort of very limited income. So I believe that if we can expand the functionality, and by providing additional functions, for example, exchange functions to the users, I believe that would be a feasible driven force to increase the adoption, and we can see a sort of a huge increase in adoption rate. But of course, we need to be careful, because everything we do will, without careful analysis, and we might have some unintended consequences. So my point is that we probably need to expand the sort of functionality by a little bit, but we need to have a very careful study and a rigorous process of community voting in order to do so.
Excellent. Appreciate all those considerations. Notice we have one of our fellow recognized delegates, 3F Good Meta, with their hand raised. Frank, if you want to take the floor.
Yeah, thanks, Peyton. Thanks, guys, for putting together this application and claiming yourself as a recognized delegate. So you mentioned during your presentation that you guys it sounded to me like you're pragmatic idealism towards governance. So if I interpret that correctly, does this mean sacrificing decentralization for possibly something that benefits the DAO, such as a centralized partnership, which we are kind of seeing that right now evolve? So I'm trying to get a better idea of what you mean by being pragmatic. Is it the idealism of being pragmatic, or is it just you guys just sacrificing certain things just to make sure the DAO prospers forward?
Well, that's fantastic. Actually, we have internal debate about, if we put it in a blunt way, it's like sacrificing A for the good result. So if we believe a trade-off, that's everything comes with a price, and I do believe there's a trade-off, that you can sacrifice certain aspects in order to increase or make some other aspect great. So then I think it's both at the philosophical level, like what is important, how do we define success? If we define success, if let's say decentralization is a key metric in defining success, then definitely we shouldn't sacrifice that. So to answer your question, I would say that I cannot put things in such a blunt way. Say, hey, yeah, I can sacrifice that for the great adoption. But I think to answer your question, we need to define success for the platform. Then I think it's of the community and by the community and for the community. And so if the community believes that this level of sacrifice to decentralization is acceptable, and a small sacrifice would lead to a huge benefit, then I think this is something that can be put up in a proposal, and we can all discuss. So this is what I mean by pragmatic.
Got it. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback.
Well, thanks for the question.
Yeah, excellent. Before coming to you, Rafa, I wanted to rattle a few Juan's questions off here. So Juan asked in the chat, he's our facilitator for the Sustainable Ecosystem Scaling Coordinate, if you weren't familiar. Yes, can you describe your approach to risk management and how you plan to protect assets and interests of the DAO?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I in the past that our lab has also been doing some sort of data analysis that's steering into the direction of risk management. I think I'm not sure, because risk management is a very broad topic. So, for example, we can using historical data to build models and do calibration for the parameters of models, and then we can run simulations to simulate all kinds of scenario, and then this is just like, it's pretty much like in the traditional financing in quantitative investments. You want to do back testing, right? So this is one of the approach that we can do risk management for the platform. So yeah, the plans to protect the assets and the interest of the DAO, I think it needs a lot of study, both at the principal level, let's say systematic risk, but also at the quantitative level. That is, the so-called simulation and the data-based modeling approach that I just mentioned.
Awesome, that's good to hear. And I'll ask one more follow-up from Juan. How do you plan to stay engaged and active as a delegate, and how will you handle any potential time constraints or other challenges? Kind of pointing out that.
Yeah, well, I think it's a very generic question. It's basically, we all know that life is a priority list, right? So yeah, we all so I think I'm a full-time professor at HKUST. Of course, I get my teaching duty, other research duty, right? So yes, I think it's a lot of times, my personal opinion on this is that to find things that you really love and you really enjoy, and in that way you don't treat that as conflict. So our lab, we found our lab based on our interest in the blockchain DeFi technology, and so a lot of times you're doing research and teaching. It's actually in line. It's in the same direction, and I would say the effort is, sometimes I would call it the one stone two birds, right? So so basically this incentive compatibility is one of the key that can keep our lab very much engaged in the matters in this field.
Well, I think that's helpful to hear your thoughts on that. I know it's very easy at the start, right? Yeah, everyone's excited and ready to come in and make changes, and
Right.
governance is slow and persistent. So good to hear you
Well,
have those
that's the
thoughts.
key. I agree. Definitely, because a lot of times that you decide to investigate your time and effort in something, it may be out of some some passion. And I agree with you that the challenge is to be persistent. But I do believe that there is a positive reinforcement loop. That is, if we heavily participate and we have a sense of feeling of the community and we contribute to the community, we actually get positive feedback. That's this is probably the biggest encouragement for us to moving forward and keep get engaged.
Right on. That's great to hear. All right, Raphael, another recognized delegate from the Flipside team, has been patiently waiting. So I'll hand the mic over to you. Thanks, Raph.
Thanks. So first of all, warm welcome to you guys. I'm glad to see somebody from Asia joining as a delegate, other than Do, who's already here for some time. So my question is more like geopolitical, I would say. The DAI is dollar pegged, right? So, and China is currently challenging the US in economic power. And do you think it's important or even feasible to grow stable coins that are pegged to other assets like the yuan or even a basket of currencies? And would you say that's something that's interesting for instance, Chinese investors or Chinese businesses even?
Well, Absolutely. I'm saying this is not it's a good point. I think you raised, Rafael. I think you raised a good point. Is that whether we should diversify? It's maybe not accurate to say functionality, but whether it's going to help to diversify the use of DAI. So we may have the yuan version of DAI or US dollar version of DAI. So my personal opinion is yes, that's gonna help. I don't mean to decouple with the US dollar, but we're in a very diversified financial system. So having DAI, having some sort of stable coins that peg to other currency, that might help. But again, my philosophy is that if we were to do anything, we need to be very careful. So it's not just a sort of a ballroom discussion, but of course we need to have ballroom discussion, type of discussion, committee discussion, voting. But before putting up a proposal like that, we like sort of data analysis and simulation. That's that's a must. That's minimum requirements for that. Yeah, that's my view on that.
Is there cryptocurrency demand in China currently high, or would you say it's not as prominent as it could be?
Yeah, well, it's so yeah. I think that's outside of my domain expertise. I'm not an economist per se. I'm an engineer. So for that, I don't know, because I understand the geopolitical situation that you are alluding to. But from at a high level, just if we judge from common sense or first principle, I do believe there's a very strong demand for such thing. But by saying that, it's my opinion, and I don't have data to back that up. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Good question and honest answer. Nothing more we can expect there. All right, so I am noting we're coming to the end of our time together. So if you do have any more questions, this is your last call to either raise your hand or drop them in chat while the audience is thinking about that. I did have one I guess I could ask, which was on the importance of DAI in other chains. I was curious if you had any views on like how far spread out DAI should be, how much of a priority that should be to Maker, and in general, like if you have any insight to give in terms of how you'd be voting for proposals to expand to other chains and L2s.
Sorry, I didn't get this question because you mentioned the other chains. During like sort of like yeah. So I didn't get this question. So can you reformulate your questions, please?
Yeah, we can even take the other chains out to just ask about L2s, right? It's just kind of this question of like, as DAI looks to expand, like where should we look to expand it? As a delegate platform, would you be supportive of integrating, creating bridges to other L2s, and then maybe partnership deals with other L1s should that come to be?
Yeah. Well, that's okay. So this is again very opinionated answer. So if you ask like, because currently it runs on Ethereum, so if you're asking, whether MakerDAO should partner with other chains, L1 chains to my opinion is that maybe at some point that there's got to be some initiative that the initiative to increase the interoperability among the chains, so that I'm not say that MakerDAO should lead the efforts of creating a chain on top of the chain and then to unify everything. But I think that there might be an interesting area. And then to start, I think we can sort of expand a little bit into some of the popular L1 chains, and then starting from there, we see, you know, how it might go. But this is probably a bigger plan or a sort of long-term plan. In my view, is that we should aim for the interoperability among the chains. So for the better, this is my opinion.
No, that's excellent, and we really appreciate you making the time for this call. Like, the reason we do this is to give potential delegators a better idea of who you guys are and how you approach these questions. So it's been great to see how you break them down and approach them here today.
All right. Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. To close out some odds and ends, if you're watching the recording of this, you should already be able to go to the voting portal and see the HKUST EPI Labs delegation platform. I'll find
Okay,
a
fantastic.
smoother way to roll that out. But
Very excited.
yeah, and for those of you with us live, you can expect that coming up probably later today or early tomorrow at the latest. And yeah, your official metric tracking and all that starts on Monday. So do keep an eye out for votes. I think I mentioned in DMs that we are going to be going on a bit of our like holiday lull here, so we don't expect too many votes for the next couple of weeks. But yeah,
Sure, enjoy
do keep
the
an eye on
holiday.
that.
We also celebrate Christmas here in Hong Kong.
Excellent. Yeah, we a lot of holidays stapled
Yeah,
into the last part
yeah,
of December.
holiday
And
season. Yes.
yeah, absolutely. So happy to take some time for that and make sure everyone's aware of expectations governance wise. But yeah, I think that'll do it for us here today. Thank you so much to everyone who
All right.
joined us.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
look forward
good
to
you guys. Yeah.
thank you so much. We'll catch you soon.
Well, thanks for having us. All right.
Thank you for having us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
All
bye.
right. Bye.